This is an English and English podcast from englishandenglish.net. That's Brett.
That's Eric.
And you guys need to check out our website, too.
Yep.
englishandenglish.net. We're going to start putting more stuff on there.
More content than just
Speaking
the podcast.
of which, I wanted to ask you this. This is actually housekeeping stuff.
Yeah.
But like when you go there, we need to fix so that you can link to a specific page. Because right now it always just shows englishandenglish.net in the URL bar.
That's just
so, like,
the way it's hosted, but we can fix that.
need to fix. Because I was trying to like post the blog, just the individual blog post that I put up, and like post that on Facebook or something, but you can't do that. All you can do is put englishandenglish.net. And right now it's the top post, so it didn't really matter, but in the future, if you want to link to a specific page...
Yeah, we'll get that fixed. A couple other things, like we'll apologize to our wide audience about some of the audio quality.
I mean, we're still trying to figure out what's going on. It's not a specific problem.
It's not a specific problem. We've run tests to figure out our software and hardware setup.
I think it's just the English magnetic field.
It is. It's just our electric personality.
Because I normally fry electronics after an obnoxiously short amount of time. They just stop working, and I get static shocks a lot.
Yeah, I get static shock all the time.
Yeah, brutally.
Like, when I was doing like the car driving work and stuff on a cold day, every time I got out of the car,
is like, and I hear them like loud, like crack, and like almost split you open. I've seen like little arcs.
Like a pussy. Like I'd sit there and go tentatively touching the car door, like
you feel yourself
my
like
elbow,
almost like,
and I'm like, wait a minute, why am I being such a
without even realizing?
But it's just because every time then I'd be like, wait, I'm being a coward here, and then I grab it and I go, pow, like, God. It was like getting snapped by like a clothespin. We have some sort of
superpowers that are too weak to actually do anything.
Right, yeah.
It just cause problems.
Just enough to ruin
make our phones stop working and our microphones and give us electrical shocks.
Yep. But nothing cool like lightning bolts.
Or fry a mugger with his brain or something. Scramble his brain with the static electricity.
Read the cell phone signals.
Right.
Fun.
They're talking about me.
Right. I can see everything in the colors of the spectrum. What?
It's like the end of Highlander. Right. I can hear everything. And
I'm
one with humanity.
Right, yeah, exactly. Something.
I thought that was such a rip. He was like, he becomes mortal at the end. That's like winning. I was like, fuck that. We should have stayed with the last two of us.
Right, yeah, exactly.
That was bullshit.
Yeah, that was...
And
that was an underutilized
the superpower that the bad guy was trying to get the whole time was just to like sort of hear what everyone's saying if you really focus.
Right,
That's probably not that powerful. It's much more powerful to be fucking immortal.
Right, yeah, exactly. No, like, that was a good premise that was underutilized.
Yeah.
Like,
the movie's not as good as you remember when you go back and watch it.
But it's just like, it's cool because like...
It's such a cool premise.
It's just a metal premise. Like these guys fighting throughout history...
with swords,
because they're immortal. You have to sever the head, and because it's just part of honor too that they fight each other with hand weapons to settle who is the best. It's pretty hardcore.
And then the Queen soundtrack made it even more metal.
Right, exactly.
That was hilarious. Anyways, so you're talking about the gym?
Yeah, so I was talking about the gym. Like, it's funny because it was the gym I went to. It's a fairly big one in the area, and it's got a pretty nice facility. Globo Gym, exactly. And but what's funny is it's got an upstairs and a downstairs.
Right. And
the upstairs has the weights, the free weights, and the downstairs the machines.
Interesting. Normally it's the other way around.
Yeah, but like I guess they put the downstairs all the place where the normals come in.
Because the people who don't really want to climb stairs because they're not actually doing a workout.
Right, yeah. You go there
where's
and
the Smith
it's exactly all those stereotypes. Like the machine is all the people there either way old or way fat.
Right.
And that got somebody guiding them through the stuff, and they're doing the machines, and they need the machines to help them out. And then everything upstairs is like the people who actually work out. Like you go upstairs, and and like
it's funny because my girlfriend went to the gym with someone a long time ago, some girl, and she was like, "Okay, here, let's warm up," and she gave her the bar on bench press, and she was like, couldn't do the bar. Couldn't even do the bar, and I was like, wow.
Some people just never.
And I was sitting there warming up with the bar, and I was like. I just do this in my muscle
Like
dungeon.
I could throw this.
I was literally thinking I could hit the ceiling with this right now. I mean, it's not like a 15-foot ceiling; it's like 7 feet or whatever. Right. But I'm on my back, and I was like, I could literally hit the ceiling with this thing right now.
Yeah, 145-pound bar. Yeah,
or just the bar. And that's another thing. Why the hell could they not make the bar fucking 50 pounds?
Right. Yeah. Something.
It was totally arbitrary to begin with. Just make it 50
pounds.
Why
are the weights 45s to begin with?
Well, I think it's originally because
90 or something.
No, it's because they started with kilos.
Oh,
so it was a 20-kilo plate, which would be about 44 pounds. So instead of starting over and making a different set for Imperial System, they just made it as close as possible. So they're almost
started with metric in Europe or something, and then
right. So like 10 kilos, 20 kilos.
That makes sense.
And right. So if you're doing it by kilos, it's even. Almost, because a 20 kilo plate is not actually 45 pounds.
Remembered how long it's been since school, where it's like, all right, I got 245s and 210s, and so that's wait, where's the? Remember, there's a 5 left over there. Right. You know, like.
Yeah, I hate that shit. So they should make some system where it's either kilos, you use the kilo plates so it's even, or you have like a actual English or imperial system where it's a 50-pound bar, 50-pound plates.
Right. 5, 10, 50, 5, 10, 25, and 50.
Right.
Plates. Not these like 30 plates.
35s, 45s. Well, you have 5s, 10, or you have 2.5s, I guess. 5s, right. 10s, 25s, 35s, 45s, and then a 45-pound bar.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so you have to add, like, I've got 3 plates, that's 270,
right.
plus 45, it's 315.
Right, yeah. So then it's 15, so I need 2 2.5s to make it 320, right?
And that should be enough to kill me.
Right, yeah. That'd be just enough to crush my trachea.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Well, I guess I should tell that story, too, where I got stuck.
Yeah.
Because I was doing... Because I work out in my muscle dungeon in the backyard, or in the back patio. And I was doing a bench press workout of brutal weight. No, not really. It was at least 25 pounds on each side. It was more than that. Anyway, it was like 205 or something. But I was supposed to do like 6 reps. And I was like, I just done like 195 for 8. And I was like, I can do this by myself. And so I did 5, and that was tough. And I was like, I got 1 more. Yeah. And so I pushed, but I got stuck like halfway, and it never actually stopped moving. It was like slowly moving the whole time, but it was like a full 30-second grind.
Right? Yeah.
Of literally pushing as hard as I can.
There's no energy left.
25 or 30 seconds.
All the energy you can muster gives you millimeters.
Well, it was still happening though.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Like the maximum force you can do it just gives you millimeters of motion. I literally felt like
as it was moving upward, there was a point where all of a sudden, just like all the. I guess, what was it, like atropine or whatever the actual muscle energy, like the short-term energy in your muscles, like drained from and then it just started slowly coming back down. Right, even though I was still pushing as hard as I can.
It's like a hydraulic system.
Like, no, like the fluid all came out, yeah. And then I was like, fuck! Yeah. So then I'm sitting there with this bar on my chest, I'm like, well, this is fucking stupid. Right, yeah. So instead of trying, like, I don't put the clips on it for that reason. So I could have dumped it off if I wanted to. But like, that'd be noisy and messy. So I was like, I'm just going to roll it. It's like, it's only 200 pounds or just over. So I rolled it down to my stomach and I was like, and it like sunk in because I was all exhausted. And you're just like, and then I had to like flex it up over my hip bones and I was like, and then like smash my balls. I was like, this sucks. So then I finally sat up and I was like completely exhausted for the rest of the day from this one like 30 to 40 second rep.
Right, yeah.
It was terrible. And that was the first exercise of my workout. So I had to go through the entire thing just like exhausted. Well, it was the only chest exercise.
Not the first set of the workout, though, right?
No, it was the first exercise. Like it was the last set of bench, but bench was the first exercise.
Yeah.
So I still had like 5 other things I had to do, and I was just like, luckily none of them were chest. It was all there was a couple of shoulders. But stay safe, kids. Get a spotter.
Right. Well, that's the thing. I guess, a lot of people use the machines because they don't have spotters necessarily. But
no,
it was funny.
It's just because everything else is fear. They're afraid. If you're in a gym like that, you can ask the people.
Having not been a guy who went to the gym all that much in the past, it just it seems intimidating. But it's like nobody fucking talks to you and waits.
No one cares. And if they do, they're a dickhead anyway. Who cares?
Right. Well, most of them never say a word. Like all you got to do is get over the fact that the guy, 3 benches down is. Doing twice your body weight.
3 benches down is doing twice your body weight. They're like, shit.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And you're like, well, fuck,
Because I still punish myself by watching videos on YouTube of chicks, of like 130-pound chicks deadlifting 400 pounds and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, balls!
They're freaks of nature.
Balls!
Those are freaks of nature.
Still.
Yeah, well, I mean, the point
obviously,
stands,
right,
but yes, but they are freaks of nature.
Yeah.
Like, the average girl's not doing that.
No. Like the average guy isn't doing that.
Right, yeah. But no, what I'm saying is, like, even, like, the workout bunnies, the gym bunnies or whatever they call them, like...
strong.
Typically, no. Like, the ones there where it's like, it's the same thing. You're like, you look at yourself, what you're doing, and you're like, I'm not going to talk to them. Right? Because you know that the guys they're looking at are the ones doing twice your body weight with each hand, or something. But, and it's like, but even they are doing, while they look super trim... Probably what I'm doing right now. Well, I'm like, I have so much work to do. Like,
yeah.
Some of them are doing more.
It's just
for
about
sure,
what you're doing.
It's just
you have to make it about
you got to make it about improving yourself. And for the most part, honestly, the stuff people worry about is the prison workout scene. You know what I mean? Like the people at the gym for real. Most of them are pretty helpful. Like,
and they're also pretty casual lifters. Like like if 90% of the people even in the gym are not going to be like serious
Right, and even those that are, that they look really big and strong, like, they're pretty serious about it, but they're not, like, it's not their life. Like, the guys who go, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, work at some private gym, some beach. Or Venice Beach, where they can show it off.
Right.
Yeah. It's like those kind of, I'm on the roids and you need to know about it people are not at the average gym,
Well, I mean, there are a couple of them. There's not that many of them.
Right.
And they really don't run around just making fun of skinny dudes.
Right, yeah. It doesn't happen. That's what I'm saying. And most of them would probably actually be helpful. They might give you a funny jab, like, oh, starting off low, I see.
Well, I've heard of people, like, sometimes people criticize form. I've never heard of someone... Never even once heard of someone like in a gym making fun of like how much somebody's doing.
Yeah, they might say you're doing that wrong.
And if you are, then it's probably good. Just get your ego out of the way.
Take the advice
of
this guy is obviously doing better than you. You just got to get that ego out of it.
Or just say, "Oh, thanks," and then go back to what you're
doing. But that's usually how it goes. I mean, like the gyms are like libraries half the time.
No one speaks to each other. That's what someone was talking about. Like, I met. Like, it was one of my friends. They were saying, I met them at the gym. Where do you meet them? At the gym. Like, how do you meet people at the gym?
I don't know how this is done. Talk to them.
Yeah, I don't know how this is done. And I'm a fairly like extroverted, outgoing person. Right. It's not that I would be afraid to talk to someone. I just like, what do you say that would like not come across as like,
in the gym? Yeah, well, obviously as intruding,
or just like you're trying to pick them up. Like this is like a girl too that he like just met at the gym and like wasn't asking out, just like a friend now. And I'm like, how would that even happen? I don't know. I don't understand that one. Maybe it's because I'm homeschooled.
Right,
I didn't get that special sort of, what do they call it, where like where they're always worried about the homeschool kids won't be able to talk to won't speak human language. Like they'll come out of homeschool.
What's so funny to me about that?
Gunga nagunga.
It's not that. It's
like, I can't speak human. I mean, it's true. But I don't develop this after 6 years old.
Right. It's not true sometimes. But I think here's what's true about like the homeschool kids in terms of social situations. It's not that they don't understand social situations. It's that they understand like a very polite, reasonable social situation, because that's how you're raised by your parents. The kind of people that homeschool their kids are typically teaching their kids to be ladies and gentlemen.
Or are they saying teaching their kids to be ladies? Period.
No, well, sometimes, unfortunately. But I'm saying, it's like an old school method of sociability. And then you go out into the world and it's like, why am I talking to these animals? You just
exactly. They're the ones going gunga la gunga.
Yeah, they're the ones going gunga la gunga.
You're not ready for the low level of consciousness.
Yeah, exactly. You're not ready for talking about nothing for 30 minutes. Like, what are you saying? You guys have said nothing. Have you seen this movie? And oh my god, so and so's so hot. And I'm like, well, I was actually looking to the political situation in Rwanda, and it's very dire right now. And then
that's not how you pick up people at the gym, bro.
It's not how you pick up people at the gym, apparently. I wasn't told. I know.
Speaking of lower levels of consciousness, or not necessarily related to, but seems to be highly correlated, is like you always hear these like goofy songs, and I guess this is just my white privilege that I haven't got to experience.
Check it.
I've checked it. That's why I did some research. But every songs are like make it clap. You know what I mean? Like make your butt cheeks clap.
Right.
And I just thought that was like a saying, you know what I mean? Like I don't know, like it's something you say.
It's a thing.
And it's apparently a real thing. Or if you have a huge hat. So I've watched like a 10-minute compilation of making it clap. Where it's like clap, 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 clap.
And
they can even do it with like dresses on and shit. It's actually kind of mesmerizing in like a weird, freakish way.
Right, but to me, not sexy.
No,
maybe
it's just
the brothers love it, but
it's hilarious though.
The brothers,
because you have to have an obnoxiously large ass to do it.
Right? Yeah. You gotta have a body weight, or body fat ratio that's outside of my preferences.
Yeah, for sure. But it is kind of hilarious.
Yeah. Oh, no, I'm not saying it's not
amusing.
You
see slow motion and it shows their butt cheeks slapping.
Yeah. Right, but I mean that's like what? Yeah.
It's hilarious. And it was loud too. It was like there was like these two chicks doing it in a hallway, and it was a clop, 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 clop.
Yeah, it's like horses.
It's like horses galloping their ass cheeks.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Because I swear I may seem naive, but I was really just thought that wasn't like a real thing.
Really?
It never actually you could really make your ass cheeks clap together.
I'm kind of surprised you didn't know.
With all my internet search history, that was the one thing that's not on there.
That did not make
making
the
it clap.
In the perverse part of the internet.
Now it has. Making it clap is on there. I mean, I figured it was like possible, I guess.
Right.
But not like it was really
not like twerking or something that it's common.
Like I realize a lot of people out there think just like at any given moment is slap their butt cheeks together really loudly.
Just by snapping.
Right, just by like dropping their hips like clop, clop, clop.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Humans have such things.
So now we'll cleanse our palate with some talk of some in-shape women.
Okay.
Because obviously I mentioned before that I'm a huge MMA fan. So Ronda Rousey came out with some book.
Okay.
And I honestly, with
the level of
MMA fan that I am, I watch all the events. I'm on like Sherdog and other forums and news sites. I didn't even know she released this book,
right?
Because it probably was like ghostwritten and everything too. But there's no big fair fame. Yeah, I mean, I don't care. I'm just saying it was obviously not a big thing in the MMA world because I didn't even know about it and I follow all that stuff.
What, did she get mad that nobody mentioned it or something?
No, she didn't get mad. So it's just like some sort of biography, and Walmart like refused to carry it because they were like it's too or like her business is too violent or something like that. Which
How
is
many
like,
movies
what?
do they have rated R?
Yeah, obviously it's ridiculously hypocritical because they have a ton of rated R movies. Yeah, they have a ton of rated R movies. They have other things from like boxers, and they had like Randy Couture's like doorway gym thing.
Yeah,
and he's a fighter,
MMA
obviously.
Fighter, yeah.
So
they've carried the Walker.
But honestly,
Texas Ranger,
I was thinking
whatever endorsed, whatever that one is. It's endorsed by however many other people.
The Total Gym.
Total Gym, yeah. How many things?
He was a karate. Yeah,
or the Taibo guys stuff. They've carried that.
Taibo's not real fighting.
But I mean, it's stuff around the world of fighting and exercise. Like
yeah, and I'm sure, and like you said, all the violent like movies and whatever.
Yeah,
and books by probably Muhammad Ali and stuff.
Games,
you know what I mean? I'm sure they have like movies. Muhammad Ali, Layla Ali,
right?
Or something.
Yeah. How many deaths are there in the Bible? I mean, like come on.
Well, and the funny thing was, I was thinking like, you know what? She should be thankful for this because that's the only reason I, as a huge MMA fan, even heard about this, and it was making like the normal Facebook rounds, like amongst people who know who Ronda Rousey is but aren't really MMA fans, you know?
Yeah.
And so I was like, hey, she should be thanking them. She probably quintupled her sales of this book that I didn't even know existed, and now it's, like 10,000 on Amazon or something of all the books. Yeah,
because with
there may be a few people who would just grab it because
Walmart
it's in
anymore.
Walmart. Yeah.
But Walmart certainly helps because Walmart's just one of the biggest.
But you're right, you don't
out
need
there,
it.
But you don't need them.
Not with Amazon.
Not with Amazon.
And it'd be more important to get the kind of publicity than to have a couple random people stumble across in Walmart and be like, oh, Ronda Rousey, and buy it.
Exactly.
Like,
and
that's all they're giving
propensity to get the digital version these days, too. You don't need Walmart as much, especially for books. Like for other products, you could probably not get away with like making a line of crock pots and not having it show up in Walmart and Target.
Damn it! You foiled my dreams.
Right? Yeah.
Like, we're gonna have English branded crock pots.
Right. Well,
you know what's funny?
I hate to tell it to you.
Is Walmart? I'm starting to hate them. Like I never did because I don't really care. I'm not like the evil corporations.
Right.
Like obviously some corporations do evil things. I don't give a shit. That doesn't.
Right. Yeah.
Whatever.
Inherently not like anti-capitalist or something like other people.
Ridiculous.
But at the same time, I'm not married to the idea of
starting to
capitalism
piss me
that
off,
I ignore corporations' evils.
Right. In general, they seem to have this attitude when you walk in there. Like their motto nowadays should be, "You're going to shop here anyway."
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like literally, they're treating you like it's it's taken for granted that you're going to shop there. Right. So they just try to lower their costs. But I actually read that like when you go in there and you buy like a blender, like even if it's some other brand like Oster or whatever, they actually contract with them to make a specific Walmart only version that's like has cheaper parts and everything, just so they can sell it for like $1 cheaper or something. And it's only sold. So it's actually like a shittier version. So like, it's $2 cheaper.
Is becoming all the things that people used to make fun of it for.
Right, like farming everything out to China just to specifically get shittier versions.
Cheaper and shittier, so they can sell it to poor people
for $1 less, or even though it'll last like half as long.
Right, and you have to buy it twice.
And you go in there and they never like the customer service has been shitty for a while.
They never man the station.
And they never man the station. Like, what's the point of having 50 fucking registers open if you're gonna have like one grumpy ass clapping person?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like they've never
finger popping each other's assholes instead of
I don't even know why they built that many checkouts because they never staff them all.
Maybe on Black Friday.
Maybe on Christmas.
Yeah.
Maybe on Christmas.
But I would never go near a place like that anyway.
I avoid them.
Get your head clapped between two ass cheeks. End up on the ground. Clop, clop. Oh!
I want that female. Clop, 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 clop. Oh, man was mauled by a series of ass cheeks.
Yeah. That's hilarious. I need to develop a skill like that.
Sweat.
That was that energy drink, right?
Yeah,
from Tropic Thunder.
Booty
sweat.
Booty sweat.
That was awesome.
It's like trying to prove he wasn't gay, basically. Right. Whatever.
Booty sweat.
For being a hardcore rapper.
Booty sweat. Yeah, so I think that was my topic. So you got ass clapping, making it clap, which is a real thing. Which is fascinating to me now. And
well, okay.
And Ronda Rousey's book.
Right.
Yeah. People
That's
of Walmart.
You're done?
Well, I mean, that's all I had written down. I'm never done. There's no rest for the wicked.
Yep, there's no.
We got free falafel food.
Yeah,
because they didn't have their act together, and they stuffed the extra shit in Brett's bag. And he's like, "Hey, I think I got yours." I'm like, "Let's just get out of here."
Yeah, exactly. So, tell the whole story there. We went to this falafel place that I'd known of but never really tried before, and they kind of didn't have their act together. They had like 5 people in the place and were swamped.
Right. No one was really anxious or like grumpy. It was just a couple people waiting, and they were like, frazzled by it.
Frazzled by the fact that they had to put out that many, and like one or two orders that people were going to come in and pick up, and it's like, yeah, it wasn't. They weren't running a tight ship.
Yeah,
but what
I don't know what their morning was like, but when we got there, they didn't have their act together.
Very nice people trying to be like, oh, so sorry, and like get it out to you. But like, yeah, like they ended up giving me. I paid for just the wrap. I got the combo. They ended up giving us both combos.
Right.
And so I basically got $2 of a free drink and dessert.
Right.
But yeah, it was just Eric and I were talking, and it was funny to me. Like, how is it? There's these places that can get so. Well, you said like they get so out of like a. What's the wording you use? Like just so.
Oh, I don't know what I said.
But just to get so behind or addled or frazzled like that. Like I've been.
Well, I just said they don't have their act together.
Right, exactly. That's the phrase I was looking for. Get your act together. It's like
right.
I've run or worked in little small businesses before. Yeah. We both have. I've worked in big businesses and customer service related stuff like that, where it can get swamped. You can get frazzled. You can get every which direction. You got to be like, I need 3 of those and 2 of these.
But
and you
get on top of that. It seems like they don't know like where stuff is in the store, and I'm like, that's something you would learn off like 2 days.
The order they took a minute ago,
right?
And like stuff like that. And it's like weird shit. How do some of these businesses still exist? There are quality people out there who can't find jobs, and then there's other people who cannot seem to lose them. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, it must just be because they. They're probably paying $10,000 a month for that spot,
right? Being in the big mall area,
or at least like $5,000 a month. So that's like. They may just be getting enough foot traffic by people who are just in the area that they're going to get a certain number of sales almost no matter. Right. Almost no matter.
I'm not using them specifically. I just mean it reminded me of a general principle. It's like. There are tons of good people who need jobs and tons of bad people who can't seem to lose them. You just
have to go out there and start doing it better than them, and people start going to you instead.
Right. Well, it's not even that. I'm talking about like getting hired at places. Like I've been so many places where the crappy people were kept because the owners or managers were such cowards that they'd rather not deal with the flack they would get from the crap person in firing them or trying to correct them.
Yeah, but what you don't see is that those businesses aren't really working. They could be running a deficit every month. They eventually fail.
Some of them are working. It's just that it doesn't matter because they keep the salaries so low.
Like in the huge ones, maybe they'll get away with it because they've already spent decades building up a brand or whatever.
Right,
but
exactly.
Eventually, that stuff is not without consequence.
No, that's what I'm saying. But the problem is that the consequences are so far down the road and that the erosion of the brand...
Well, at this point, they're just at the point where their consequences eat into their profits but don't necessarily make them not profitable. Exactly. Whereas if you were just starting out, it would be like a death sentence to do a small local business run like that.
Right, But exactly. But like those big businesses, small local businesses too, I've seen it, and usually, it kills it pretty fast. The bigger businesses that are okay, but it's still the phenomenon is still the same regardless of the scale. It's just your survivability of it differs depending on the scale of your business. But a larger business, the bigger businesses are still doing these dumb things where
because like I said, because it's not killing them necessarily. They've managed to do the right things for at least in the beginning, and now it's not hurting them enough to make them fail. Right. So that people keep doing it.
But to me, it's not that. I mean, that's part of human nature. I understand. You don't always do something right away with the consequences right there. But you would think if these people are managers and they've worked with people before, they've managed people, they should be able to look at this and say, this is wrong. Or it's not working.
Some weak-ass humans.
Yeah, exactly. It's like...
know what they're doing.
Yeah.
But,
oh, well.
We can talk about
Move away from that
misanthropy
downer.
later.
Yeah, exactly. But, watching YouTube, this is a completely different topic now.
Okay. You found a compilation on people making a clap?
I did.
I saw that.
You saw that? Good. I was going to link it to you.
Okay, good.
But you've seen it
I'll have to put that on the website for sure.
Completely different kind of link.
This will be a good title.
Yeah.
If we thought the Jennifer Lopez Anaconda sex technique was a good clickbait seduction technique.
But making
it clap title would probably do even better.
Right, yeah. Well, there was this... This is a completely different topic, but it's about like YouTube. And it just made me think of YouTube in general. I found this one guy's channel called like the Engineering Guy, and I'll link to it.
Okay.
Apparently, he's just a professor at like University of Illinois, and he and his department make these little 5-minute videos where he talks about how a microwave works, or the engineering marvels of a Coke can.
Which no one really knows how a microwave.
He did apparently. Right? Yeah, I didn't get the joke, but he did apparently. But he did a really cool thing. It
also involved a non-dairy powder.
Right, yeah. Well, no further questions, Your Honor.
But anyways, what did they do?
He did a cool thing where he showed that you could find the wavelength of your microwave by you put a tray that fills your microwave pretty much, either pretty high up, like you stand it on top of something, and you coat it with cheese.
And
because the wavelength has high and low points and
it makes
nodes,
like burnt points on it.
It makes points that are hotter and colder. So there's points where the cheese is very melted and points where it's almost not melted at all. Yeah. That's why normally microwaves have a rotation so that those waves will hit the thing at different angles. Because if you just have a stationary thing, those waves will hit everything at the same angle the whole time, and the high points and low points of the wave will hit the same spots every time, and you'll get you'll basically get these rows of cooked area and these rows of uncooked area or lesser cooked area. And so you can determine like the wavelength of which is pointless unless you're a scientist. There's no reason to know.
Right.
But it just kind of shows you that it's the standing wave of the microwaves passing through everything and how
burning
they interact
your cheese.
There.
That reminds me of I love it when people do like scam stuff that catches dunderheads off guard.
Yeah.
Like they had this some fake video where the person you could charge your iPhone in the microwave.
Oh, yeah.
People for like 20 people like fried their iPhones by like cooking them in the microwave.
God,
that's so hilarious.
Yeah,
I love it when people are that fucking stupid that you can and they get punished for their idiocy. The special brings joy to my withered black heart.
Right, my curmudgeon heart.
Yeah,
but. The engineer guy's channel overall, what's fun about it is they're pretty well produced. It's mostly just him talking and some
like good
illustration videos with it, videos. But it just reminded me. Now, of course, this guy's a little bit different because he's with a school. But it's like this is everybody's quality and is interesting to somebody interested in this stuff. It's like a Discovery Channel special,
right? And
it probably costs so much less to make.
Oh, obviously.
And this guy, just by being a passionate and knowledgeable person with a pretty decent radio voice, you know what I mean, like competent in front of the camera. Not like one of the people like...
now has like hundreds of thousands of...
Well, I don't even know how many views he has, but I'm just like... It's, YouTube, the internet videos will be the future here.
Yeah.
Because like the content
already getting
can
that
be
way.
made...
I just read
that TV still just has all the money. It has all of the
It's definitely
backing.
shifting to internet stuff. I just saw that like on my eBay store, like 40% of my items were purchased from a mobile device, and I was like, really? People have like phones? I
can't use a phone for something that's serious.
I know. Like, and I'm like, oh my god, I can't type in. I hate that shit.
And also, or like I'm trying to select something and I can't see the details, and I need to know.
And like read through the items.
Exactly.
Yeah, so weird. It's very strange. Oh, isn't there another guy that has a similar channel, but he has like a slow motion camera?
Yeah,
Smarter Every Day.
I think we linked him before in the Facebook freeboot.
We should send him an email and get him to do one of girls making it clap in slow motion, super slow motion.
I think it's a little outside the scope of his family-friendly fare.
I don't think so. It's all physics.
Right. Yes, it is all physics, but I'm pretty sure he's like he keeps it G-rated as much as possible because he has like his kids in the videos and stuff.
Well, they won't be naked.
No, this is true.
Thongs.
But he might not get it past the wife. Right?
Making it clap. That's
hilarious.
That's awesome. Yeah. So what movies we got?
Movies coming up?
Yeah, we got any
Nothing particularly new.
Seen any? I talked about Wolf Cop already, didn't I?
Yeah. Like they've got Avengers and everything else coming up.
Right. Sure.
They just did a new trailer, like a full trailer for the new Jurassic Park.
I'm still.
Yeah, I'm like Terminator and some of the
other
ones.
Not even on the fence, I would say. I'm just neutral.
Neutral, yeah, exactly.
Whereas, like I'm not in danger of being pushed anywhere. I'm going to see it. I don't really have high hopes for it, but I don't expect it to be a disaster either.
Right, it looks...
I expect it to be similar to, like, the third one.
Yeah, it looks confidently
like,
entertainment,
entertaining, but not that great.
Right, yeah. But the cool thing about this one is that I did see the trailer, is it doesn't seem to have as much of the dumb, like, everybody has guns, but nobody manages to shoot anything.
Kill anything.
Well, I mean, they have some of that because, of course, there's a big thing, and it's like, we somehow can't manage to kill it.
Right.
But with all these guns, although, of course, it's the size of a T-Rex, so I guess that makes sense.
Wouldn't you have
but
like
if you
a
had
minigun or
these
something?
animals,
Or like an M2 or something?
Like a tank or something.
Yeah, you'd have like all you would need would be like a Bradley or something on there. And they wouldn't be able to hurt you.
Right, yeah.
And you could just chew them up.
They could roll a Bradley.
Maybe, but you'd have like a...
But you could build some custom armored vehicle.
With a 20mm cannon
customized armored vehicle that even if it gets knocked over, the guns can be brought to bear. And you can just, like... so they throw they roll the car
it, but it's not going to hurt you.
And then you just chew them to bits with,
if you had like an MRAP or a Bradley or something, or a Striker, they're not going to fuck you up with that.
Right, yeah, exactly.
They're not that big.
Like, just like, if you had even like a Hummer with the guns,
the up armored one, yeah.
Like let's say an elephant came and knocked it over.
Bend it up. You
could probably bend it over before the elephant got there. You could probably chew through every bit of its skull with that gun.
Big 50 cal or something,
right? And
although I don't know if the government would let a theme park have like 50 cal machine guns.
Right, but this is on its own island.
That's true.
And so, but the cool thing in the trailer is,
why don't they have flamethrowers? Because even if it's not going to hurt them, you can easily keep them at bay with that.
Well, that's something they don't do because it's a movie.
Right,
they don't want to make these monsters and crazy. They don't make them react like real animals are.
They make them
even
more like
predatory
relentless.
Animals aren't that relentless. Like you sting them, and they're sometimes they will. If they've already engaged you, they might stick with the fight for a while. Right. But if they are like stalking you and then you shoot at them,
they're probably going to leave.
Or flamethrower around, they typically go, well, I'll find easier prey.
Well, then they made them like they're smart now or something too, right? Or like genetically engineered.
Right. Well, that's the conceit for this one is they wanted to make more exotic animals to bring more people to the park. So they made like hybrids.
Dinosaurs that didn't really ever exist or something.
Right. And so now it's like, oh no, the hybrids are going crazy.
Right. The hybrids are making it clap.
But yeah, so anyway, like at least there are scenes where like the guys have guns and like the hero isn't some guy who is like, oh, I don't use guns. He's like an animal handler and he's like talking about how you need to understand the animals. Like they need to eat. They need to
like they have instincts
and stuff like that, and
they need to rape, pillage, and kill.
Exactly, but
just like every other animal.
But that was one thing that was kind of like definitely very Spielberg, and the other like the first two. It's like this: everybody who was there with guns was the bad guys,
right?
And like actually, they're the smart guys, and then like the heroes don't use guns to stop a T-Rex.
They're for Greenpeace or something,
right? Yeah, exactly. Like they take the bullets out of the guy who was going to hunt the
right,
like,
and it ends up like killing 50 people because the guy
pulled out the elephant bullets.
The guy couldn't shoot it. Yeah.
Jesus. Like, and then they never showed the trial for this guy removing the weapon from the hunter so that all these people are mauled.
Then it charged into the camp and then...
Right, yeah. Gosh. And then the third one kind of went that route, but not really. They just had the guys, like, for some reason, they were pretty heavily armored, but died in the first 5 minutes.
Well, because they weren't really mercs. That one actually made the most sense. Because the guy had, like, a tile business. His son got lost on the island, like, parasailing.
Right. He was, like, a millionaire for, like, tile.
Not even a millionaire. He just, like, sold everything and was, like, went madly in debt to hire a couple of his buddies, and they bought a couple of weapons, but they weren't really, like, mercs or anything. Right, yeah, exactly. So that actually made, like, the most realistic sense.
It was also just a conceit for them to set up the case that they were on the island with no resources.
Right.
And so that's a better premise. It's like, okay, it's not that we all have guns, but somehow we can't manage to shoot these animals. Right. I mean, we got all these specialized vehicles, and we're capturing them for the first 30 minutes to show how evil we are. Then all of a sudden, everything falls apart, and we get mauled to show how cool dinosaurs are for eating the evil men.
Right.
And then it's like, wait a minute,
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. But yeah, so the third one there was... not necessarily the better of the movie, not better than the first movie, but it was,
as a standalone movie, it wasn't bad.
More plausible that they just,
it wasn't terrible. It was at least somewhat entertaining. I'm not one of those people who, if a movie's like cheesy and just base entertainment, that I'm going to hate it out of some like artistic elitism.
Right?
If it's entertaining, I'll enjoy it. I don't care. Exactly. I mean, I'll know and recognize that it's not some cinematic masterpiece, but it doesn't mean I can't get a little bit of enjoyment out of it.
Right.
So that's kind of what I'm expecting for the.
Yeah, exactly.
The next one.
And that and like Terminator and some of the other
Mad
Max
Terminator
stuff. Like,
Mad Max I'm worried about because it looks like it'll just be too over the top.
Well, the problem with Mad Max to me was when I look at it.
Apparently it's the same director as the first two.
Yeah. And I get it in the sense that now he has a budget kind of thing, but it kind of might go the Lucas route.
Right. He was obviously kind of crazy in the first one. It worked because it was like a goofy 80s action movie.
Right.
And now he's going to be like, and now there'll be a tornado, and they'll be flying through the air and fighting from cars that are being sucked up in the tornado.
Right.
And it's like, man, come on.
Yeah, exactly. The budget restraints.
What also made sense in the budget restraints is it's one of those situations where it made it more realistic because
everything was scavenged parts.
Right, so they had to use actual like old football pads, and now everything's like customized. Like, what is it? This is it's supposed to be scavenged. They can't make a special skull mask.
Exactly. The first teaser, that's the exact same thing I thought.
Right.
This shows the bad guy put on this like skull mask,
custom-made skull mask. Yeah.
And I'm like, where did he get that?
The whole point was that, like, the Lord Among Us had, like, an old hockey mask.
Right.
And, like, the guys had football pads and dirt bikes.
It looked stupid, but it was also realistic.
It was realistic.
Because you're just going to be pulling from the waste of the former
you're not
civilization.
Be like, let me get a model
and injection
mold or a 3D printer to make this stuff.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, ridiculous. So that's what I'm thinking, too, is that it's not going to be a realistic depiction of what, like, a crazed Raiders would look like in a
artistic, which is cool in its own way. but it also betrays the setup they had initially, which is that
makes it just less
made
realistic. Right. It's like, what would these people really be able to do in this situation?
Yeah, exactly.
Not what you would think looks coolest.
Right, yeah.
Because obviously that might look cooler, but it doesn't give it as realistic a feel.
Right.
And the same thing with like like the Conan movie, where he's just like literally has like furs draped across him, versus like Scorpion King or something, where it's like these super gladiator costumes that aren't necessarily realistic for what they would have. Everything's custom made, custom fitted, and super nice leather and buckles and all this stuff.
Medieval stuff is they get wrong a lot in most movies, because they go, A, because it's a costume, and B, because they don't understand the actual styles of armor that
and like what it was really used
and why
for,
they were designed
when and why they were worn. And
right,
stuff.
It wasn't that they just wore things because it looked cool or had spikes on it. You know, like most of the time, like that riveted looking armor. You know, it's like that's one thing. Like in games and stuff, they have it a lot too. They show leather armor and they call it studded leather.
Yeah,
where it's leather with the studs on the outside.
Yeah,
that wasn't ever a thing.
Yeah,
that's something they made up in Hollywood because they misunderstood what plate leather was, where it was leather with the plates of metal on the inside, so the outside studs were just the bolt points for that leather to hold the metal straps. Like it would be like an inch wide, 3-inch long strip of metal, and then it would be inside the leather. Versus like when they could finally make large pieces of metal, they did scale mail. Or
why'd they do the metal on the inside? It seems like it'd be uncomfortable.
Well, it was 2 layers of leather. It'd be leather, metal, leather.
Oh, okay.
Or it was simply because, or they would do it on the outside too sometimes, like that. But it would be simply to, if they wanted a concealed version of armor,
right, or
a version that wouldn't catch with a layer on top of it, they would do the strips on the inside. And also, most of the time, it was between a layer, like leather, metal, and then a cotton or something to wear against you,
like a tunic or whatever.
Yeah, some internal layer. And oftentimes they did the leather. Oftentimes they did do the strips on the outside, and
they just do whatever looks coolest.
But exactly.
Spartacus or whatever,
like splint mails. Sometimes what it would be called, because it was like splints.
I think we should bring back some medieval things. Like that'd be a pain in the ass to wear that stuff around, especially now that you have guns. Yeah. But we should bring back like concubines. Yeah. And squires.
Yeah. Squires are good.
Squires are good.
Concubines, of course.
Bring me my car! Like, drive it
exactly.
around. Gas it up for you.
Or, like, bring you the sword, your sword or gun, and then you put your foot on their
shoulder. Like an Army of Darkness.
And he, like,
kicks the guy away.
Kicks the guy away so that the scabbard goes with him.
Instead of pulling the sword out, he kicks the guy away.
Right,
that was hilarious.
But even if you're not that disrespectful, squires would be good shit. Squires would be good shit.
It would be good. It'd be useful.
Concubines and squires, like, roll around with a posse. You know,
right.
It'd be good. I mean, people still do it in some sense these days. It's just not formalized, so it's not as cool. It's not like, yes, he is my squire. Right. Just my posse. It's all. But it sounds so much cooler to be like, my squire, or yes, my armsman here.
Yeah, if I got rich enough to have a personal assistant, I think I'd call him my squire.
Right, squire.
Squire!
When you have a couple, you have some squires who work for your major domo or your seneschal or whatever.
Yeah.
Seneschal was the...
and I would definitely have
Seneschal was basically like the bank keeper guy.
Okay.
Like the guy in charge of the kings or the lords.
And then you have an apothecary.
Then you have your apothecary, and then you have your major domo or your visor.
Yeah.
And then you have your squires.
Yep. And your harem.
And your harem, naturally.
Important, right?
Important part.
Yeah. So we'll get on that.
Right, we'll get on that. Bring back squires and harem.
Yeah, not even necessarily feudalism, because I don't like that as a form of government, but some of the other setups weren't too bad.
Right, yeah.
So we'll get right on that. I think I already talked about the world's oldest person dying again.
Yeah. Does it happen again?
No, not again.
Okay.
I mean, it will.
Right, naturally.
It was 2 within like a week last time.
Right, yeah.
So we covered that. We covered Putin's return.
Mm-hmm.
We covered...
That was a little while ago.
That was a while back, yeah. It's probably an echoey podcast, though.
Yeah, despite our tests to try to make sure it's not this time.
I'm trying not to pause this time, because I think that's what may have caused one of the issues.
Maybe.
But that means we have to... That means we can't...
At that point in the thing, which I first...
Well, that's what we'll have to go back. There was some multiple pauses last time. So we'll have to remember.
Yeah.
That way but now we have to think of ideas without stopping and looking online.
On camera. Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun. Give us a bwomp. Give us a bwomp. Bwomp. We need more bwomps.
All the bwomps.
Actually, let's go ahead. I'm going to try a pause, and then before we record, or like before we render this as an MP3, we'll test it. So I'm going to go ahead and pause now. Wait, it didn't pause. I'm going to go ahead and pause. All right, so we just paused as a test to see if it's going to be echoey now, which of course it won't anytime we're focusing on it.
Anytime we're trying to prevent it.
So we'll go 3 or 4 more times when nothing will be issues, so we'll stop worrying about it, and then it'll happen again, even though we didn't change anything.
So if it does happen again, we apologize to our listeners for the quality. We're sussing out exactly what.
And if you guys feel that bad about it, you could buy us a whole new podcasting setup.
Or if you have any idea what in Audacity is what we're using currently, right?
We're using Audacity, but we're using a Reed program to be able to use 2 mics at once, and I'm sure that that's the issue, even though it's not an ongoing thing.
Right.
It's probably
surprising
what's
to me that it takes that kind of middleware, like that these things don't have, because there's so many mics out there that have USB inputs now. Like you don't have to have a soundboard anymore.
Right.
These things are made to work straight with your computer. But they don't have a way to take more than one mic typically in the software. It's not an issue for the hardware.
It seems
the
like
computer could take as many inputs.
So common.
The computer could take as many USB inputs as you can have USB ports, but the software doesn't recognize more than one unless you get a middleware piece that expands it.
Like I'd like to know what setup people like a Joe Rogan podcast. Are they using like an exterior soundboard?
Probably. I mean, those guys can afford it, and they got a sound guy.
But when he started, when the first time he sat down and said, "Hey, we're doing a podcast," is that what they used? Probably not.
Maybe, but they're a bad example.
He could have.
They're a bad example because like him or Adam Carolla or something has the money to do it.
Yeah, but Joe Rogan, when he started, it was just on a whim. Like they're like, "Hey, we should do a podcast." It wasn't to do it as a business, so I doubt he went out and bought like $3,000 worth. Even though it wouldn't have been a big deal.
One mic to start, and then later on, as he gets into it, he gets.
But it was like him and another dude. It was always. It's never been just him.
Well, they still might have enough money to be like, all right, I'll spend $100 to buy a small
$1,000 on a whim.
Soundboard
on a big deal.
Yeah. But other people, I wonder how other people that
have guests and
self-made podcasters that do it with
we'll just have to do some research.
Yeah.
But this is working. It's just annoying everyone.
Some ghosts in the machine, some little issues that come up that we can't locate the source for because we've done it. We've set it up different ways.
Electronic energy.
Yeah, it's our weird electronic energy. It's actually when we podcast, we're sitting on top of a dimensional rift, and I'm hearing myself in another dimension at the same time. Where I'm also doing
you're saying something slightly different, though.
Right.
Maybe.
No, I'm saying another podcast. The timing's just a little off. That universe is a couple seconds behind.
If it's a fraction of a second.
Or a second ahead, fraction of a second ahead. Something.
Interesting.
Different frequency.
All right. So that's it for this week.
Yep.
Check out EnglishEnglish.net. We'll see you guys later.
Adios.